Hello and welcome to Compelled. I am Mike.
I am Joe.
And today we're going to be talking about Brandon Taubman. Now you may ask yourself, who is Brandon Taubman? Brandon Taubman is, or was, assistant general manager, and he had been fired on Thursday. This is October 24, 2019. The Houston Astros fired him, said the team official. The Houston Astros on Thursday fired the team official who directed offensive, vulgar comments toward female reporters during the celebration of the team's American League Championship. In both a statement and a news conference on the travel day between Games 2 and 3 of the World Series, the team apologized to the reporters and acknowledged it mishandled the incident. Brandon Taubman was terminated for his actions after Saturday night's win over the Yankees when he yelled in the direction of female reporters who were covering the Astros celebration, "Thank God we got Osuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Osuna." References to Astros closer Robert Osuna, who was acquired in a trade in 2018 after being suspended for violating baseball's domestic violence policy. Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Go ahead.
Are those vulgar comments? Thank God we got Osuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Osuna.
The only way I could see that as being vulgar is if Osuna had done something so atrocious that his name even being brought up would be offensive. Otherwise, no.
Would you like to know what Osuna did?
Let's see. Domestic violence is all I saw. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I don't know what he got accused of or convicted of or whatever. I don't know.
On May 8th, Osuna was arrested by Toronto police and charged with assault. He allegedly assaulted Alejandra Roman Cota, the mother of his 3-year-old son. Roman Cota was visiting Toronto with their child and then returned to Mexico shortly afterwards and refused to return to Toronto. Due to Roman Cota's refusal to testify, the prosecution withdrew the charge against Osuna in exchange for a peace bond, mandating that for 1 year he not have contact with the alleged victim. He was placed on administrative leave by baseball and then received a 75-game suspension for violating the league's domestic violence policy, retroactive to May 8th.
Okay.
The 75-game suspension is pretty much an automatic when you are accused of domestic violence. Mm-hmm. However,
it's half a season.
It goes beyond this simple paragraph.
I had a feeling.
Osuna had been charged with domestic violence. See, outburst illustrates attitudes towards, I don't care. The Houston Astros self-created, see, Vox.com again. There we go. These usually take this kind of time to get all this shit going. So he won't be tried for assault charge. This is from USA Today. This is back September 25th last year. Come on.
Like when I brought up, like, if his name was so offensive, it'd be like if someone goes, "Oh my God, we got Bill Cosby. I can't fucking believe we got Bill Cosby."
Bill Cosby was was cleared of all charges.
He got freed?
Uh-huh.
How did I not see that? I checked. God.
It just happened yesterday. I saw the news yesterday. There's a reason for it. And the reason is because when you accuse somebody of spiking your drinks and then you call him 52 times afterwards, after the accusation, by the way.
Yeah.
And keep offering him gifts and asking him for stuff.
Yeah.
And him offering to pay for stuff and all of this other stuff. I keep saying stuff. I just want an apology for him. Oh, well, I gave you an apology. And then I apologized again to you, to your face. And now you're suing me?
Yeah.
There's a whole big problem with the person that sued him and the 56 other women that sued him as well. Now, there are stories that go around Hollywood about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And that he does this. I'm not saying that he doesn't do it. What I'm saying is that the person that accused him initially and then the 56 other women that were also accusing him have egg on their face, because if you're going to accuse somebody of anything, you better file a fucking police report.
ASAP.
Stop making goddamn excuses. If you were violated by a person or you were part of a domestic abuse, oh, I can't file a police report.
Nope, get her done, man. Go do it.
If just like the Zoe Quinn bullshit, like, I can't believe any part of any story that she says, including the fact that she supposedly broke somebody's nose while she was a stripper for 3 days or a day and a half, And then she walked away from the entire incident and went home while police and ambulance were in the parking lot attending to the guy who she had quote unquote knocked out because she elbowed him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. You are a fucking liar, because they would be taking police statements.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You didn't do any of that.
Because she was so traumatized.
You fucking bullshitter.
She had to get out of there, Mike.
I'm trying to find
the details,
the details, and there are no details.
God damn. It's either there's not many details or there's just a conspiracy.
There's no conspiracy.
That's why I laughed after saying it.
Here we go. Here's what you need to know about the Osuna case. Given that criminal charges were dropped, does that mean Osuna never assaulted Roman Cota? We can't conclude that. Before Crown Attorney Catherine Mullally could take this case to trial, she had to satisfy herself that there was a reasonable chance of securing a conviction. In offering Osuna a plea deal, Mullally believed the prospects of success were not good. So therefore, everything that was said about him, the whole assault and whatever else, that's why she offered him a plea deal, because there was no chance of him getting convicted.
Okay.
The issue here is that Roman Cota elected not to cooperate with the Crown. She went back to Mexico and indicated that she would not return to testify. The Canadian authorities can't force her to travel to Canada, since Osuna and Roman Cota were the only two people present during the incident. Without her testimony, the Crown had little chance of securing a conviction, hence the plea deal, which includes a restraining order and counseling. If she were in Ontario, the Crown could have forced her to testify. Since she is in Mexico, though, that makes her testifying an impossibility.
Then why did he agree to a plea deal at all?
I don't know. Maybe because baseball told him to do that.
Oh.
It is not unusual for alleged domestic violence victims to recant their stories or take a different position. This is particularly the case when a couple has kids together. My very first case involved a charge of domestic violence. I was working legal aid in law school and was representing the defendant. His girlfriend, who initially filed the complaint, took the stand and became uncooperative with prosecution. The prosecution pressed her, but she remained firm in her position that her boyfriend did not assault her. Are you saying that Osuna assaulted Mrs. Roman Cota? No, there are allegations leveled against him, and he has never been convicted of any crime. There's your first part of the problem with the case. He has never been convicted of any crime. Any crime.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, the plea deal is not an admission of guilt, and Basil has insisted on Osuna's innocence. Major League Baseball conducted their own investigation. In handing down the suspension, Manfred stated as follows: having reviewed all of the available evidence, I have concluded that Mr. Osuna violated the policy and should be subject to discipline in the form of an unpaid suspension that will expire on August 4th. In theory, if the case against Osuna was flimsy, Major League Baseball would be risking a defamation claim by suspending him, as well as a grievance filed by the MLBPA. Except if the MLBPA works just like football, then there was already a grievance claim filed when he was suspended. It's an automatic thing. It happens all the time. I don't know if it's true for the Major League Baseball. I do know it's true for football, because anytime a person gets suspended, it is automatically appealed. Yeah. Automatically. Major League Baseball's conclusion from a legal standpoint is noteworthy. No, it is not, because it's an internal investigation done by a club or an organization with nothing but their own interests in mind. So if somebody says, I was beaten nearly to death by whoever, I'll take Zoe Quinn. Okay. Zoe Quinn, who accused Alex Holika of all of this fucking, shit.
That caused him, and then he committed suicide.
And he commits suicide. But let's say he doesn't commit suicide. Let's say he works for Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball investigates and sees that, yes, the story is true from a certain point of view, that she stayed at his place, she was miserable, they argued that he may have grabbed her, she may have grabbed him, or whatever, but the story checks out, then they could say, hey, he violated the policy.
Yeah.
By keeping her in his house, or doing this or doing that, or arguing, whatever constitutes harassment, or whatever constitutes abuse in Major League Baseball's policy.
Yeah.
Okay. And he could be suspended. That's why I'm using him and her as the anecdote on this whole thing, so that everybody understands that Major League Baseball's policy on this is like zero tolerance. and it doesn't work. It doesn't work on any level because we don't know exactly what their policy is. Even though it's written, we don't know exactly what their policy is regarding this because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop real domestic abusers.
No.
Look at the guy that played for Kansas City, and he's now playing. I think he's playing for Cleveland. Is it Kareem Hunt? Kareem Hunt. I'll look him up later. And Adrian Peterson, and Ray Rice is out of the band. Who's the other guy that played for the Ravens? The murderer.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. Mark Gastineau.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, Ezekiel Elliott.
I know that was an iffy one.
That is very iffy. I'm talking about the ones that are well known and police reports have been filed.
Or the dude that hung himself. Was it Hernandez or
Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez.
And the list goes on. Lyle Alzado.
Junior Seau.
Yeah, I don't think Junior Seau was abusive. He
just started losing his shit at the end.
He had CTE, but I don't think he was abusive to anyone but himself. But people that have experienced that stuff, yes. So anybody that has been abusive in the NFL or anybody that has been abusive in baseball, I don't see them doing anything to remove those people from baseball. Baseball. Well,
I like the first one. That was good.
Baseball. Charlie Huff. Charlie Huff, the biggest fucking drug dealer on the planet, the biggest fucking drug user on the planet in Major League Baseball. Dwight Gooden. The entire Mets team from that year.
Darryl Strawberry.
Yep. Fucking coked out of their heads. Lenny Dykstra. We could go on and on about all of their fucking bullshit about this domestic violence policy. Their domestic violence policy is garbage because it's zero tolerance and doesn't take into account for anything other than if the person that they're telling to that's being told, if the person that's telling them the story is believable, that's their domestic abuse policy. The MLBPA did not grieve the punishment. MLBA has a long history of contesting player discipline in instances where it believes the evidence doesn't support. The union took a pass on grieving the 75-game suspension, most likely because, again, he took a plea bargain above anything else. And then we know that none of this, of course, means that he committed a crime. From some, though, it may be relevant when assessing what happened the night of May 8th, 2018. So, holding that over his head, we go to, then you have Women Are Invisible, World Series overshadowed by Major League domestic violence issues with Brandon Taubman and Robert Osuna. So Brandon Taubman becomes the fucking whipping boy for this shit because some reporter felt that she was being targeted. Sports Illustrated reporter Stephanie Apstein, who had witnessed the incident, wrote about it. The Astros, in an initial statement, called the report misleading and completely irresponsible and accused Apstein of trying to fabricate a story. Other witnesses corroborated Apstein's account, including one who wears a purple domestic violence awareness bracelet. Who gives a fuck? What does that have to do with anything? And who was a primary target of Taubman's tirade.
Tirade?
That wasn't a tirade. What
unless
exactly did he
they're
say?
leaving a bunch of shit out in this article, I didn't hear a tirade going on here.
Taubman lied to team officials when he was first confronted with Apstein's claims, saying his comments were directed at a colleague and overheard by reporters. Lunau would not say who wrote the Astros' initial caustic statement, saying it was only many people, but acknowledged he had seen it before it was released. The statement, Lunau said, never should have been sent, the Astros, he said. Own it as an organization, it was wrong. However, Lunau would not say whether there would be discipline of the employees responsible for the statement, accusing Apstein of fabricating the story. So this came from the Astros organization, and now he's being blamed for whatever outburst that he had when he was excited about, he was in an emotional state when they were, when they fucking...
They're in the World Series.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have a problem with this while they're in the World Series. He also defended the Astros culture, saying, this is not something that's endemic. This is not a cultural issue. We have a lot of really good people in our front office, coaching staff, and team. They launched an investigation of the incident and began interviewing witnesses in Houston, but the Astros' actions appear to have been made ahead of any subsequent findings by Major League Baseball. Lunau described his own remorse at having to fire a top lieutenant, saying it was devastating and adding, "I wouldn't wish it on anyone in this room, but, just like I wouldn't wish on anyone in this room to sit up here and answer these questions." What exactly did he say other than those words? "We sincerely apologize to Stephanie Apstein, Sports Illustrated, and to all the individuals who witnessed this incident or were offended by the inappropriate conduct. The Astros in no way intend to minimize the issues related to domestic violence." Shut up.
What the fuck is happening here?
This doesn't make any sense that he said a total of less than 10 words.
He was excited about a guy joining the team that's a good fucking player who had a domestic violence incident that it doesn't get reported.
He's not guilty.
Yeah. He did a plea deal for it. He served his time, his suspension time, and the specifics. You look. How many articles did you go through to find the specifics? And we still couldn't find them.
I'm going to the Sports Illustrated article right now so that we could read the whole thing. Hold on a second. I need to do this and this. More than an hour after Jose Altuve won the Astros pennant, the party in the Houston clubhouse still raged. Right fielder Josh Reddick was crushing vodka Red Bulls. Starter Garrett Cole smoked a cigar. Shortstop Carlos Correa gazed lovingly at the American League Championship trophy. And in the center of the room, Assistant General Manager Brandon Taubman turned to a group of 3 female reporters, including one wearing a purple domestic violence awareness bracelet, and yelled half a dozen times, "Thank God we got Osuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Osuna." The outburst was offensive and frightening enough that another Houston staffer apologized. The Astros declined to comment. They also declined to make Taubman available for an interview. Taubman's timing was odd. They just won the fucking American League Championship. He had been, by Baseball Reference's calculations and any intelligent observer's assessment, the least valuable Astro that night, which is true. So why would Taubman choose that moment to taunt that demographic? It's not hard to figure out. Osuna likely only pitches for Houston because he allegedly assaulted, this is what they wrote, Alejandra Roman Cota, the mother of his then 3-year-old child, in May of 2018 as a member of the Blue Jays. Prosecutors dropped the charges after Cota returned to Mexico and declined to testify as part of the bargain. Osuna agreed not to have contact with her for 1 year. Major League Baseball suspended him for 75 games. Osuna is one of the best closers in the game, and his infraction made him, in the mind of the Astros front office, a distressed asset. They traded for him, and in terms of traditional organizational capital, the price was low. The Astros gave up their own struggling closer and 2 middling pitching prospects for him. I'm going to go back to this. Osuna was one of the best closers in the game. He had been, by Baseball Reference's calculations and any intelligent observer's assessment, the least valuable Astro that night. So they're already knocking him down pegs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Osuna was one of the best closers in the game, and his infraction made him, in the mind of the Astros front office, a distressed asset. Yet, they still traded for him. They still got to the championship series, and they lost. The Astros gave up their own struggling closer and 2 middling pitchers for him, but the price was low for a reason. Many teams didn't want to deal with the public backlash for acquiring Osuna. The Astros decided it was worth it. Since he got to Houston, he had a 2.46 ERA, 50 saves. The Astros may win another World Series, but that doesn't mean they get to decide when the backlash ends. When you're writing a hit piece like this, and you forget to add in things like, Osuna is not guilty.
Yeah.
Osuna did not commit a crime.
Schmear.
You are the worst. Sports Illustrated, ESPN, all these fucking shit rags that are just throwing this stuff out there. Who cares if he said, "Thank God we got fucking Osuna"? You're going to get offended at that? Get up and walk the fuck away.
Did he point at her purple ribbon and keep going and looking at her face and going, "Ha we got Osuna, bitch," or anything like that? It's not reported in here. So I don't understand what is going on here. either a bunch of things are being left out of all this reporting.
Well, here goes with this one. And this is what I mean by Major League Baseball not understanding their own rules and policies and making them up as they go. Mm-hmm. Houston is not the only team that used assault as market inefficiency. In October of 2015, Aroldis Chapman allegedly choked his girlfriend, Christina Barnia, then fired a gun 8 times into the wall of his garage. There was not enough evidence to charge him with a crime.
Not the bullet holes in the wall?
So apparently he didn't shoot his gun into the wall. The Reds had agreed to trade him to the Dodgers, but LA pulled out in wake of the allegations. Instead, Cincinnati flipped him to the Yankees.
He must have a really good sheetrock guy.
It shipped Chapman to the... Even then, they could find out.
I know.
I mean, it would have fucking fired through the walls of the garage, unless you have a cement garage.
Yeah, like cinder block walls or something, yeah.
The Yankees received a bunch of people, and New York signed Chapman for 5 years, $86 million. After Osuna blew Game 6 on Saturday, Chapman blew it right back in the bottom of the ninth. They keep blowing each other. A year after the assault, Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner considered the fallout. He admitted he messed up. He paid the penalty. Sooner or later, we forget, right? No, sooner or later, they forget. No matter what Taubman thinks about it, the rest of us can choose to remember for as long as we want.
I thought you said Osuna or later.
I'm so sick of hit pieces like this. They didn't go after fucking Aroldis Chapman. They didn't go after the Yankees for getting Aroldis Chapman. And Cincinnati dumped him, so they didn't go after Cincinnati for keeping him.
Because that was pre Harvey Weinstein. That's why.
Oh yeah,
that's why.
There we go. So some lady that wears a purple fucking ribbon around her arm, and some guy says, "Thank God we got Osuna." She's offended by it.
Is she also offended being in the locker room when these guys are changing their clothes?
Apparently not, because they were in the locker room watching some guys slam vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah.
They were okay with that. They were okay with the guy smoking a cigar in the locker room. They were okay with a ton of shit going on in the locker room. But that guy says, well, thank God we got Osuna.
No, he said, thank God we fucking got.
No, he said, thank God we got Osuna. Thank God we got fucking Osuna. Or thank fucking God we got Osuna.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, but...
He dropped an F-bomb. I mean, that emphasized how much he was in support of Osuna being a woman beater.
And you're a fucking reporter. So you're going to have to deal with that in some fashion or other. So...
Oh, man, I can't even fathom. I mean, how many F-bombs do you think were dropped in that room that they're not talking about?
Oh, how many, hey, you want to see my dick? How many times was that said?
Hey, what are you doing after the show?
Yeah. Hey, can you give me a blowjob? How many times was sexual harassment and inappropriate comments made to those reporters sitting there with a bunch of young fucking virile baseball players?
Yeah.
Not enough.
God, this is becoming...
it sucks.
Pandemic,
this is
man.
Fucking bullshit. And it's not pandemic. It's a problem. It's not pandemic.
If it's getting to a point where you can't even mention the name of someone who has maybe been connected to domestic violence or something, and then all of a sudden you're going to get fired for it, there's something going on here.
This is the culture. This is cancel culture getting out of hand. This is Me Too culture getting out of hand.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Me Too culture. And people being afraid to stand up and say, you know what, go fuck yourself. So you can't say this shit? You're fucking reporters.
Yeah.
Act like an adult.
Yeah.
You're a reporter for a goddamn baseball organization.
God.
You're not even a reporter for a baseball organization. You're a reporter for Sports Illustrated who has the annual swimsuit issue on sale every fucking summer that shows as little fucking clothes as possible.
Yeah.
And in fact has women wearing gauze swimsuits.
Transparent kind of articles too.
That's what gauze is. But thanks. I appreciate that.
I didn't know what the fuck the gauze
good
was.
assist.
I didn't know what the fucking gauze thing was.
And you can clearly see their nipples and vag. But yet this person's fucking outburst during the championship, during the championship party in the locker room is absolutely unacceptable. Go fuck yourself.
This to me is on par with women that falsely accuse of rape. In my eyes, because what it's doing is it's making the real victims, people that are really truly assaulted, things like that, it's taking the light away from them and it's focusing on bullshit.
Yeah, it's causing problems for organizations all over the world because now everybody has to, as you like saying, walk on eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking insane. You wouldn't last 2 minutes in the car industry. 2 fucking minutes.
No.
You wouldn't last 2 minutes working at Walmart.
You wouldn't even be done filling out the application.
You would be so offended working at some of these places, and then you come in and you work for some place like Sports Illustrated. Like I said, Sports Illustrated, who does the all nude issue, they literally did an all nude issue of sports figures. They do it every year.
But it was done in a classy way, though.
Doesn't matter. It's offensive if you want to get right down to it.
Yeah, I got you.
But they're not offended by that.
No, because
they're not offended by the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue or the Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar or the Sports Illustrated fucking, chicks bent over playing volleyball issue.
Yeah.
Or the hot chick summertime Olympic issue or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Or cheerleaders on the field.
Yeah. Not offended by any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're offended by Asuna. Shut your fucking traps and act like adults. That's all I have to say.